When the American comes to Ireland, he goes around the country visiting his third cousins and his fourth cousins, and he's a great man to spend and meet family relations, but it's getting very expensive. They seem to be not coming as much. You also have accommodation problems. Hotels, guest houses seem to be they're not available for the tourism industry. So where do you think, or what's your opinion on the tourism, where it's going?
Well, tourists are finding it hard to get accommodation. We have a bit of an issue in County Clare, in North Clare. I think our population has increased by, if I'm right in the figure, 9.6%, because we've taken in quite a lot of Ukrainians. And so then all the hotels are packed. The same in Ennis, a large number of the hotels are packed. And throughout West Clare, Kilkee has no hotel to stay in for anyone that wants to stay in there. But it has fed into like Airbnb getting busier and bigger and gaining market ground. Also, too, what it has done is taken out a lot of private houses that would be to rent for ordinary citizens to rent throughout the whole year. They're been rented out now through Airbnb because they're going to make more money and because the hotels are packed. So indirectly, it has created a housing crisis that people can't get a house to live in. Just the ordinary Joe and his wife and his couple of kids can't get accommodation because the houses have been turned into Airbnbs. The hotels then are getting millions from the state. They've directly funded them. And from what I see, a lot of money being spent in the hotel industry. The industry, roughly speaking, is worth 250 million to County Clare. I would imagine has gone down a bit because of COVID and not as many Americans flying over and staying here. They can't stay here, so they have to move on. They're on the buses, and all it is 80 buses a day going up and down the Cliffs of Moher. That's the largest volume of people. On the bus down, on the bus up, and on the plane away again. I don't think they can get to see Ireland as much as what they should do. Do you know that what I was used to was the tourists that would be in the car and drive around.
Yeah.
They're not there. They're not there like that anymore. Even the European tourists, because I live just off the Wild Atlantic Way, and normally to get onto the main road, you have to wait a considerable amount of time. You don't have to. They're not coming. The European tourists are staying in Europe. So there is a weakness in that economy, and there is a strength in that economy, and it has created the problem of homelessness for a lot of people, and that is very tough. I have a friend of mine, I can think about him now, and I know that he's been sleeping in the car for quite a while, trying to get a place to stay in, which is sad.
Yeah, just about the homelessness and the housing crisis and that. There's an old law, it's called the law of supply and demand, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about product. But in your opinion, what is creating the demand for the first of all, are the state building enough houses? That's the supply side, but the demand side, in your opinion, are the state, or what is the cause of this huge demand for the housing?
Well, I can see. Well, I can answer just on the local area. I'm on the coast, between Spanish Point and between Quilty, and a lot of people have moved back to the west of Ireland, or moved to the coast at least, or maybe even rural Ireland since COVID, because they can work from home. I've seen that. I think there's 7 houses I've been to so far, and I've only canvassed in 5 days. But I met in 7 houses, 7 families, and they've moved to rural Ireland because they wanted to get away with the cities, which I can understand. I don't particularly go in cities. I find it a bit too claustrophobic. But that number of people moving out means that there's a squeeze on the amount of houses available. The building of houses can be built in many villages, Clare, Liscannor, Lahinch. I don't know, there's a list on Rara perhaps too. And I can't think of the other area now, but they can't be built because the septic tank systems aren't up to spec. They won't get planning permission. So if they're not getting planning permission, you can't get the houses. There is a lot of houses vacant too. I can say that as well. And I would love to see them more occupied. The one-off house has its own septic tank system and is a standalone model. It works. But the government were very hard in letting people build their own houses. They wanted to push them into the more densely populated areas. And the problem in the densely populated areas, they don't have the septic tank system put in by the council. They failed to do that over the last 20 years. So they received money for infrastructural projects and they did not spend it. I don't know what they did with it, but they didn't put in the infrastructure as they should have.
Yeah, Joseph, if you get elected to Clare County Council, what influence or power will a county councillor have? And I'll give you an example where there seems to be inside Ennis, there's plans to destroy Abbey Street car park, build a huge complex there, take away the car park, and this seems to be coming from these technocrats, bureaucrats, the chief executive and his directors. The men and women of Ennis have held protests and have petitions and are all seem to be most of them against it, yet the plan seems to be going ahead. So who actually has control in Clare County Council? We just talk about Clare, but it's the same across the country. Is it elected county councillors, or are the long-term decisions being made by these technocrats, bureaucrats and their directors? And what influence could have a county councillor have in these, we'll say, macro issues that affect Clare?
From what the councillors are saying is that they have no power, and they're blaming further up the chain. Now, I do query that they won't go against their own. So if Clare County Council is mostly made up of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, and if the government is made up of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, they're not going to talk against their own friends and colleagues. So they'd choose their words wisely in regards to complaining about things. Now, that's my view, from the outside. Maybe my view when hopefully I'll be in the inside, I would change. But I do know that when you run for government, you set up your national plan. If your national plan is A, B, and C, then that plan you have to follow it out and see it through, and that's what they're pushing for. Now, in my view, from working in Ennis for 20 years, Ennis is in a bad position. They have ripped up that street, O'Connell Street, so many times for pipe work, broadband, septic tanks, ducting. They were looking for artifacts. I remember in one building, they held it up. It was a pub in Ennis on top of O'Connell Street. They held it up because they found remains, bone remains. And the bone remains turned out to be an old cow. But still locked up the whole development for, I think, was it 4 weeks, digging out the bones of a cow. To be honest, I don't know what they're doing there, but I know one thing: they're interfering with business. And I'll tell you an example of a telephone call I got one day. I work in a barber shop. Phone rings. I answer the phone. The person on the phone says, "Hello, how are you doing? Is Ennis opened today?" And I said, "Of course, Ennis is open today. It's Saturday." "Oh, it's just that I heard that all the streets are closed. Yeah. So I haven't been going to Ennis." Yeah. That'll show you what the public thinks. The public thinks Ennis is closed.
Yeah. Sorry, Joe, we're running out of time now. We've only 6 or 7 minutes left. Just the final one. A month ago, there was a referendum, and all the political parties were for yes. The no side won by convincingly 75–80%, mostly the independent. As an independent, and you're up against the party machines, what chance do you think that, or will the people suddenly maybe go for independent in West Clare? And was that referendum just maybe a weather vane for that, or just that final come before we come to the very last one?
I think the people saw through it, and the people said that they don't like what the government was pushing, and they voted no. Perhaps there's an awakening happening. Perhaps they're starting to see the light, that there is an erosion of what their normal liberties are, and that's what the government is pushing. And they said no, they don't want any more of it. Hopefully that'll be the plant that'll grow from here on out.
Yeah. Now the final thing, Joseph, you're running as an independent. You've started canvassing. So if people want to maybe contact you or follow you on different social media, whatever you're on, say, and maybe support you for the canvass, or maybe even donation. I don't know how you organise yourself. That's entirely up to you. But just I leave the last minute or couple of minutes for you to that, to maybe give the contact details. Again, if people want to support you in any way, or where can they follow you, your information, or where you're doing your stuff on social media and all that information there. Work away on that. Yeah,
well, very simple. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I've recently tried to go on TikTok. So basically, just look up Joseph Woulfe. I'm the only Joseph Woulfe in County Clare. My telephone number is 085 767 8000. And yeah, I would welcome people to come canvassing with me. I'd show them what to do, where to do it, and it's good fun. I enjoy it. My life is around meeting people and greeting people, talking to people. I find it a walk in the park very interesting, and you get to discover your county in a different way. For me, just give me a buzz and we can talk, or text message, as people are used to. After that, I'll be doing. You'll hear me on the radio. You'll see me on social media, and I'll be communicating as I go on this canvas. I'll be reporting from different areas. So just keep an eye out and keep an ear to the radio, and I'll be there communicating to you. And follow me along, support me as much as you can, and you'll see a change that will occur.
Yeah. Can you just repeat that phone number again, nice and slow? Just repeat it for the second time, and your other contact details, just nice and slow again for the people before we finish up.
No problem, Paul. My name is Joseph Woulfe, and telephone number is 085 767 8000. You'll also find me then on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok. And
your final word, then, just to the final, very last one, to the potential electors, the voters, and men and women, and all entitled to vote in West Clare. What will your final message to them, just to finish up?
Well, I live in rural Clare. The memory I have of Clare is a Clare that has activity and people coming and going, being very social, meeting and greeting people. Not a Clare that you're locked up in your home and you're supposed to stay there for the rest of your life. I want to see the Clare that is the one that people want to be in. So my message is I want to put Clare first, not Dublin, not Europe first, but County Clare. And